America is weak under President Joe Biden, and our enemies, they know it. That's why American enemies are exploiting us and our great ally, Israel. Look at where we are. There's a land war in Europe. Israel is under constant attack, and evil tyrants like Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin are watching and waiting to pounce. The conflict of the Red Sea makes this fact indisputable. The decreasing number of attacks by the Houthi militia in the Red Sea matter to every American family. The attacks are a huge problem because so many vessels go through this area that are critical to world trade. Right now, companies trying to get goods across the globe have a decision to make. Go through an area with clear and present danger, or choose a much longer, more expensive route which will lead to delays, increased costs for consumers. This is all because of Joe Biden's weakness. This is what happens when you let terrorists and their sponsors, like Iran, run rampant and dictate how the world works. The result is always more violence, less scrutiny, less security, and serious consequences for American families in everything from the price of goods to their safety overseas. It's what we see today as Biden's weakness needlessly push America towards World War III. This bill does nothing to hold Iran accountable. Let me repeat that. This bill does nothing, absolutely nothing, to hold Iran accountable. Americans don't want war. But instead of standing up to Iran with a credible deterrent to prevent it, Biden has rewarded them. Biden has rewarded Iran with billions of dollars, which the Iranians have used to enrich their nuclear program and fund terrorist enterprises like Hamas and the Houthis. Before Biden took office, the U.S. oversaw the deployment of more naval assets, which was good for Israel, the U.S., and global commerce. Now he is weakening this posture. Biden started his presidency by removing the Houthis as a foreign terrorist organization. Why? Never could explain it. He did that on February 16, 2021, which was a massive mistake. This has empowered them to raise funds and grow in power as Iran's proxy against Israel. It wasn't until a few weeks ago that the U.S. finally redesignated these terrorist thugs as a foreign terrorist organization. It only happened after week after week after week of the Biden administration tolerating their attacks, which has created danger and disruption to the global economy. The U.S. and capable partners should have stymied these attacks before they started by destroying Houthi assets months ago when they began terrorizing our trade operations. Biden would have been wise to have taken a page from the Trump playbook sooner and acted quickly and early to show us U.S. strength and deter ongoing attacks. For far too long, Biden refused to do any of this because he is a weak president. For a president who ran on multilateral internationalism, Biden has proven completely ineffective in bringing along most of our allies to stand with us in times of conflict. This is the reason the world is at war now. Again, nothing in this bill is going to hold Iran accountable. Absolutely nothing. It pains me to say this because we all want the president to be strong, regardless of their party, but we know Biden will never be capable of being a strong leader. That's just not who he is. He will never really stand up to terrorism, hold our allies responsible to truly stand beside us, not behind us, and show the world the grave consequences of threatening the shared economic and security interests of the U.S. and our allies. U.S. power and engagement ensure the freedom of the seas without interference from bad actors and make the world safer and more prosperous. That has been why Iran is not directly attacking Israel. Currently, the U.S. Navy is the only military force in the world that can see and attempt to control the various battle spaces that exist or could exist. Our superiority and intelligence gathering allow our allies to cooperate in this effort to deter and, when necessary, defeat our enemies. Right now, there is a serious disparity in what the U.S. taxpayers contribute towards this critical issue compared to other freedom-loving nations. I believe this needs to be fixed. This bill does nothing to address this issue. The U.S. spends $886 billion a year on defense to protect ourselves and our interests around the world. The European Union spends just $295 billion. On top of that, the U.S. currently has a more than $130 billion trade deficit with the EU. Just as we forced NATO countries to agree to a minimum 2% spending on their own military power, we must insist on support from all these benefiting from our protection of the seas. These nations need to boost military spending and fix these trade deficits with increased purchases of American goods. More importantly, we need a president to hold them to that. This bill does nothing to address these concerns. Iranian proxies in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen continue to escalate because the Biden administration has shown it will do little to stop them. Communist China, Iran, want to use intimidation tactics to dictate the flow of goods and services around the globe. The U.S. must lead the free world to ensure these bad actors are deterred. We should not do it alone. As President Ronald Reagan said, the key to security and the preservation of our sovereignty is peace through strength. Joe Biden has never said that. His words echoed George Washington's farewell address to the nation and told us that if you want to live in peace, you must prepare for war. Neither of these great leaders were warmongers, but both understood that diplomacy and international agreements without great strength do not secure peace. Rather, it is having the means and the will to deter and defeat enemies that guarantee peace and our sovereignty. While chaos continues abroad, America's national security is also being threatened each and every day by an invasion of single adult males at our own borders. One that President Biden's lawless actions have created, encouraged, and maintained. This has been a self-inflicted wound by Joe Biden. This is the sad reality for a nation under the weak leadership of Joe Biden, and has forced us by to deal with world events in a way that I am sure many of us dislike.